I move that the Interpretation Amendment Bill 2023 be considered by Parliament without delay. That the bill must pass through one stage at a single sitting of Parliament. That the bill must not be referred to a standing committee or other committee of Parliament. And that the bill must be debated and voted upon by Parliament on Friday, 14th of July 2023, but that ample time be given to debate the bill after the vote on the 2023-24 Appropriation Bill 2023 and the consequential bills, with the right reply given to me as the member moving this motion.
Is there a seconder?
Honourable Speaker, I second the motion.
Thank you. And I now call on the Attorney General, Honourable Attorney General, to speak on this motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So very briefly, the Interpretation Act 1967 sets out the principles and rules for the interpretation of written laws and public documents in Fiji. The Interpretation Amendment Act 2021, or otherwise known as Act number 42 of 2021, provides where any written law authorizes or requires a person to provide his or her name, the person must provide his or her name as specified on his or her birth certificate. And where any written law authorizes or requires a person to provide any form of identification of himself or herself, the person must provide such form of identification which accurately reflects his or her name as specified on his or her birth certificate. The Interpretation Amendment Act 2021 was seen to disadvantage people who choose to use their spouse's surname when providing their name under any written law. Therefore, the Interpretation Bill 2023 seeks to amend the Act to allow a person to use his or her spouse's surname when providing their name under any written law. Honourable Speaker, consultations were held at the Office of the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, and the Office of the Solicitor General. The following stakeholders were formally invited by the Office of the Attorney General for consultation: the Fiji Women Crisis Center, the Fiji Women's Rights Movement, Fiji Council of Churches, Itoke Land Trust Board, Fiji Elections Office, Fiji National Provident Fund, Fiji Revenue and Customs Service, Land Transport Authority, and the Ministry of Home Affairs and Immigration. Public consultations were also carried out in Suva, Lambasa, Lautok, Nandi, and Outer Islands, including Lomaiviti, Ngau, Batiki, and Nairai.
Honourable members, the floor is now open for debate on the motion. Yes, Honourable Bulitao.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. So I rise to give my contribution to the motion that is before the House, and that is the bill, Interpretation Amendment Bill 2023. I will say that we are against the procedure used, Standing Orders 51, because there is nothing urgent. This week says just for the appropriation bill and consequential bill. And this particular bill and the last one, it's not related to the budget. And again, I would urge the Honourable Attorney General to come through the right procedure under the standing orders, and that is to go to the standing committees. And all the consultation that he has done is done by government. Most of it done in Lomaiviti and Nairai and Ngau and all the islands that he said, probably to his own voters. The consultation done by the PM's office. But one of the core functions of legislature or parliament is lawmaking. And that's why we have standing committees. A standing committee is on law, justice and human rights, which deals with bills. And the other thing too, that is the Attorney General is missing, that this particular bill came from complaints by women that complain on the voter card. And we just received a copy of the 2022 election report from the acting supervisor of election, received by the committee in Parliament Committee or Standing Committee, and the acting supervisor is yet to present that, to present the committee the report before the committee, and also the lapse that were there. Given last Friday, the COC has just appointed an interim chair for the election commission, and the election commission with those commissioners that will sit in. They will present the combined report on the Fiji election report and the election report that will include these findings, the findings that should also see the changes in some of our electoral law. And this bill has come very fast. And I know the Honorable Attorney General, I think, is trying to prove a point here, but he can wait for the right time for that to come through, the right procedure. And this is not the right procedure, Honorable Attorney General. And that's why yesterday I suggested for a change of the Attorney General, because of these shortcuts and these kind of breaches and legal blunders that is happening in our land.
Honorable Speaker, there is no right time than now. This law was brought in under Standing Order 51. The women were not consulted, the women of this country. The point Honorable Mbulita was raising, that it's only an elections office issue, is deluded, because the women who need to change their IDs now is not just limited to the voter ID card. It's now their passport, their driver's license, their bank documents, wherever their names are used in their spouse's name held jointly, they need to change that. The women are being affected as we speak, and this law needs to change so that there is justice for the women of this country. In fact, Honorable Bulitavo might be very shockingly surprised to see the statistics from the Fijian Elections Office, and I've asked for that information about the voters who turned up to vote on the day. They may just be surprised to realize why they lost the elections. I believe it's the women of this country voted them out. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the height of hypocrisy, when you say, don't ever do this. And then when you're in a position to make that decision to not do it, you do the exact opposite. You do the exact opposite. You should be shameful. You should be ashamed. That is hypocrisy. That is hypocrisy. If you're saying that we should use the due process of Parliament, as soon as you're in power, you say, okay, when we're on that side, forget all that. Let us do what everyone to do. We hear the flippant type of ludicrous comments made by the Honorable Turanga here, completely overriding all the things you said for the past 8 years. On that ground, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker. On that ground, I totally object to this, and I object to the absurd, illogical logic that was used by the Honorable Tombuya. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've just had this garbled, confused logic. Yes, we opposed Standing Order 51, and for good reasons. For good reasons. This was, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, I know he's frustrated about lots of things, and that's why, Honorable Bala, he's just, he shows, you see, he's using a Hindi word. He's saying taulo, which means, scale. Now, I mean, it means weighing. I don't know what he means, because if he's been weighing his own position in the last 8 years, then there's a lot to say, And the people in this country, Mr. Speaker, understand in Hindi what taulo means. And this guy has been tauluing all his life, and he's talking about taulo. But let me come back to that.
Point of order. Point of order. You sit down.
The speaker will tell me, not you.
Yes.
This is the problem with
I'm addressing Mr. Speaker, not you. Mr. Speaker said, I take those words as an offense. And I want honorable member to withdraw. In the morning, he was very quick to talk about respect. Huh? What sort of respect are you talking about? When
Speak. What's your point of order?
withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, set him out.
Who the hell you are? Speaker to tell me.
I was just responding to what he said in Hindi, Mr. Speaker, and that makes sense. But let's come back to what we are discussing on this bill. The
Honorable member,
need for urgency.
for clarification,
Yeah.
Taulo is Hindi or
Hindi.
Bhagavati?
Hindi. You wait, you know. I said, and
Honorable
then,
Naisa is laughing.
yeah. And then I said, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, he said to me, Taulo means I'm weighing. So I said, well, you've been weighing all your life, no? You could be weighing sugar, you could be weighing, fish, you could be weighing kava. And I know,
Order.
I know how he's there, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
But let me, you're destroying Sangam, fix that first. Let me just come back. Mr. Speaker, can you please ask him, it's just so irritating. His honourable member is just, is displaying uncouth behaviour in Parliament. Coming back to the bill, this is urgent, Mr. Speaker, because it was a bad law. Bad law to begin with, because what they were trying to do, the previous government, by changing all these laws, because they wanted to just restrict, through electoral laws and making it difficult for people to participate in the election process. And that was a bad law at a bad time, and many women are still complaining if they want to travel. I know at least one that I met has to travel to New Zealand. They have to apply for visa. It was such a big inconvenience that was created unnecessarily because somebody just thought, okay, this might be a good idea. That's why this bill is urgent, Mr. Speaker, and we support it. Thank you.
I now call on the Attorney General to speak in reply.
Mr.
Must apologize. I can see you standing up, Honorable Koya.
I'll be very short.
Okay.
Be very short, Honourable Speaker, and I think I don't need to say much, save for the fact that this is the same thing that we've just raised on the other two bills. But I just wanted to point out and also support my I was going to say my learned friend, but my brother on the side here, my Honourable Usumati, that it's quite astounding, Honourable Speaker, at the level of hypocrisy that exists. Like he rightfully pointed out, we've had 8 years of ear bashing going on with respect to Order 51. Yet very quickly, as soon as they change their clothes, they're doing exactly the same thing. We will argue the merits of this particular bill on another day. But the use of it now is what we're actually talking about. And guess what, Honourable Speaker? The level of debate on just the Order of 51 has gone to another level. Exactly what we, the insults now flying around, and bordering on, and the point is, it takes, when we tell kids, in one ear, out the other. All they were doing was saying something, but when it suits them now, they've adopted all that. Just like our budget, they've taken everything that we did and turned it into what they're actually doing. So please don't do that. That is offensive. Honourable Minister. You see what I mean? I'm not jumping around in my chair, you are.
You are acting like your previous president.
No. You see what? Honourable Speaker, I know very well that I conduct myself properly, but it's quite distasteful when it comes from our Minister for Finance. Please, I didn't start anything. I just stood quietly listening to you.
This morning you gave a lecture about now.
Carry on. I'm not insulting him. I'm not insulting him, sir. Not by any means.
No,
He's had his say, let me have mine.
Yes.
If he wants to stand up and interject, I let him speak because I know you'll give me the extra minutes. That's all. He doesn't need to get personal. That's his problem, Honourable Speaker. He starts getting agitated in his seat. It's like ants in your pants. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Just to add one short point. Just to add one short point, just to Honourable Mr. Speaker, sir, to remind the opposition that this law is just a reversal. The proposal. It was brought into place to reverse a court decision on Honourable Nicola Waikula.
Yeah, that's right.
When there was an issue about his surname. So that was why it was brought into place, and that was the normal procedure for the government then, which is now in the opposition. When something goes against them, they will create a law to nullify it. Thank you.
thank you, Honourable Tissoau, and I invite the Honourable Attorney General for his right of reply.
Mr. Speaker, I endorse the comments raised by Honourable Tabuya. I've had the pleasure of traveling to the US, to London, to Russia, so Denmark, Washington, D.C. And this is what has been expressed to me by everyone. The difficulty of trying, they refuse to renew their passport on the basis of a bad law. As a responsible government, we bring it today. And the merits and demerits, we'll hear it on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. Parliament will now vote. The question is, pursuant to Standing Orders 51, that is A, that the Interpretation Amendment Bill of 2023 be considered by Parliament without delay, that the bill must pass through one stage at a single sitting of Parliament, that is B, and C, that the bill must not be referred to a standing committee or other committees of Parliament, and D, that the bill must be debated and voted upon by Parliament on Friday, the 14th of July, 2023, and that ample time be given to debate the bill after the vote on the 2023-2024 Appropriation Bill 2023 and the consequential bills, with the right of reply given to the Attorney General as a member moving this motion. Does any member oppose the motion? There being opposition, Parliament now votes. Parliament will now vote. Open the vote. Close the vote.
The results of the vote are as follows: 27 ayes, 21 noes, and 5 have not voted.
Given there are 27 ayes for the motion is carried, with 21 noes and 5 not taking a vote. And thank you. We shall move on, and I call now on the Honourable Attorney General and Minister for Justice, the Honourable Shiromi Tura, to move his motion.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant